Terence Crawford continues to call out Gervonta "Tank" Davis over the controversy that unfolded in Brooklyn. The boxing world was stunned as Davis faced off against his former amateur rival, Lamont Roach, in a lightweight world title bout. Despite being the clear favorite, Davis struggled, leading to widespread debate among fans and fighters over the final outcome. Adding to the intrigue, Roach has now revealed details of their verbal exchanges in the ring, where Tank made a prediction that carried deeper meaning. Let's dive into the emerging details. Davis found himself in serious trouble in the 9th round when he unexpectedly dropped to a knee, a clear moment that should have been ruled a knockdown. However, in a shocking turn of events, the referee failed to score it as one. This controversial decision played a crucial role in the final outcome, as the fight was ultimately declared a draw. Had the knockdown been correctly counted, Roach would have earned a 10-8 round, which might have been enough for him to secure a stunning victory. The aftermath was chaotic, with boxing fans and fighters voicing their outrage. Leading the charge was none other than Terence Crawford, the pound-for-pound king, who wasted no time in calling out the controversy. Taking to social media, he unleashed an angry rant that further ignited the debate.
Yeah, that was bullshit. It should have been called a knockdown. You can't take a break like that. The only person that can do that is the referee. The referee stopped the action and say, hey,
Crawford initially posted, "Roach won, and that should have been called a knockdown. Let's see what happens." However, when the final verdict of a draw was announced, his frustration escalated. He expressed his outrage, writing, "They robbed that boy, and it's crazy. I have never seen someone take a knee and it not be counted as a knockdown. Must have forgotten the rules for tonight." But he didn't stop there. In his final remarks on the matter, Crawford referenced a past moment in boxing history to emphasize the controversy. "Some of you need to watch Floyd Mayweather versus Genaro Hernandez and see Mayweather take a knee because he hurt his hand. It was called a knockdown, even though it wasn't from a punch." Just recently, Crawford voiced his firm belief that Tank knew exactly what he was doing. "Pretty boy thought he could mess around and still win," he stated. "You can't fool the fans. That's why, even if the fight was judged in his favor, they had to settle for a draw. But it's clear who really won." Roach himself revealed that Tank told him mid-fight he would lose, and that the judges wouldn't give him the victory. "That right there should be looked at," Crawford emphasized. "How do you get rocked, wobble, and still be certain of a win?" But Crawford wasn't the only one speaking out. The entire boxing community is still buzzing about the controversial moment, with many believing Roach was unfairly denied a well-earned victory despite the official outcome. Davis managed to retain his undefeated record and still holds the WBA lightweight world title. But the controversy surrounding the fight has cast a shadow over his win. While there were initial talks of a potential rematch, Davis has quickly shut down any discussion, making it clear that he has no interest in facing Roach again. It was undoubtedly a tough night for him, and although he escaped with his record intact, the relentless criticism from fans and fellow fighters continues to mount.
Getting his own fight, taking the knee, and then being addressed in the corner with the towel, wiping away. Like, I've never known that to be in any rule book in any state or country.
The moment that sparked the controversy remains the biggest talking point of the fight. According to the official rules of boxing, if a fighter's knee touches the canvas, it must be counted as a knockdown. There is no gray area. However, in this case, the referee simply ignored it, a decision that had massive consequences. Roach was understandably furious after the fight, feeling robbed of a career-defining victory. He firmly believed he had done enough to win even without the knockdown, but knowing that a crucial point was taken from him only made the outcome even more frustrating.
Found out this guy is in front of me. He's taking think it was too late. I thought it was disappointing.
After the fight, Roach didn't hold back, expressing his disbelief over what had transpired. "Honestly, I thought I should have won even without that being counted as a knockdown," he said. "Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't. And really, if he had to wipe sweat out of his eye, he had to wipe sweat out of his eye. But the rules clearly state that if you voluntarily take a knee, it's an automatic 8 count." His words only reinforced what the boxing world was already thinking. According to the rulebook, Davis's knee touching the canvas should have resulted in an 8 count, yet he was allowed to continue without penalty. That decision ultimately led to a draw instead of what could have been a loss for Davis.
What's the biggest advantage that Keyshawn has going against
Tank?
Yeah, he's a great boxer. He sounds a great boxer, and he got power behind him. So I could see that fight just being an entertaining fight. It sounds like Tank comes in there trying to knock you out. I could see that fight just being entertained and, doing later rounds, Keyshawn.
Roach continued to reflect on his performance, stating, "But it is what it is. I wasn't relying on that. I was relying on what I was doing in there. I was taking control. I think I was landing more shots, more power shots, and I thought I was doing my thing. So, I'm not really that frustrated, but if that had been counted as a knockdown, I would have won a majority decision." His frustration was evident, and rightfully so. It's not every day a fighter gets the chance to dethrone an undefeated star like Davis. For Roach, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the fact that he performed so well only to have a crucial moment overlooked made the outcome even harder to accept.
What do you mind when you heard the decision?
Nobody like a draw, from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more.
As for Davis, he attempted to explain the situation, claiming that grease in his eyes forced him to take a knee. However, this explanation did little to quell the controversy, as fans and fighters alike weren't buying it. Many pointed out that the reason behind the knee didn't matter. What mattered was that his knee touched the canvas, and by the rules, the referee should have counted it as a knockdown. Now, Davis finds himself under intense scrutiny. His undefeated record remains intact, but at what cost? Many fans are questioning whether he truly deserved to walk away without a loss, with some even calling for an immediate rematch to settle the dispute once and for all.
Or your future?
Yeah, it definitely changed my plans. It definitely changed my plans. I probably got like 4 more fights now. Sure.
Boxing fans are also in complete agreement with Crawford, furious that Davis was spared from what should have been a clear knockdown in the 9th round. "Robbed in broad daylight, man, with cameras in every corner," one user fumed. Another commented, "It should be a knockdown. Roach won that." A third added, "Damn, all sports are getting rigged. SMH. Even a Davis supporter admitted, "Yeah, I'm a huge Tank fan, but I can't defend this. I've never seen anything like this before. Wild." Another fan expressed frustration, saying, "Such a shame they robbed an underdog." One even questioned, "Is taking a knee allowed now?" While another simply summed it up with one word: rigged. According to DAZN and boxing reporter Chris Mannix, Davis could have even been disqualified for taking an unsanctioned timeout to have his face wiped by his corner. In conversations with 3 veteran boxing referees, Mannix revealed that all of them agreed the knee should have been ruled a knockdown, with one even noting that Tank could have faced disqualification for the mid-fight wipedown. After the draw, his first blemish on a previously perfect 31-fight record, Davis clarified that he took a knee because of a burning sensation caused by a hair product running into his eyes. "I didn't want to get caught while my eyes were burning," he explained. "You can't get knocked out like that, so I'd rather take a knee. But I didn't really know you could get disqualified for that. When the ref started counting, I was like, what the hell?" As the fight progressed, Roach Jr.'s chances of handing Davis his first career loss seemed to increase. However, Davis appeared confident about how the decision would play out if the fight went the distance. During the later rounds, while the two exchanged words in the ring, Tank made a bold statement. "In the 12th, or maybe the 11th round, we were just talking," Roach Jr. recalled. And he said, "You ain't going to win." I asked, "Why not? What are you talking about?" And he replied, "They ain't going to give it to you." I was like, "Oh, is that right?" Roach then reflected on the harsh reality of the sport, adding, "It's sad to say, but, you know, that's how boxing works."
Jawing back and forth at each other. What were you guys saying to each other? It felt like more than any of your other fights. It was a lot of jawing in the ring.
Trash talking a little bit. You know what I mean? We didn't get too crazy, but
As tough as it is for a fighter to give their all only to end up on the wrong side of a decision, Roach Jr. remained composed, acknowledging that such outcomes are part of the sport. "I'm not totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get too much on paper. But I was sure I had it, especially when they announced the score for him. I was like, oh, they're going to give me a split decision. I thought, yeah, here it comes. But as soon as I heard 114-114, I was just like, damn." Roach Jr. not getting the nod becomes even harder to accept when considering how the 9th round unfolded and the way 2 of the 3 judges scored the bout.
But were you surprised? Because I know everybody else was. That Roach could take your power because you were throwing bombs in some of those rounds.
yeah, it was cool.
Then there was what Davis said to Roach Jr. during the fight. If Tank knew Roach wasn't going to get the decision, what does that really mean? Fighters talk trash, but this wasn't just typical in-ring banter. Tank wasn't claiming he was winning. He was outright saying Roach wouldn't get the decision. He sounded like a man who already knew how the night would end. Did Davis sense that something was already set in place? Did he know that, no matter how close the fight was, the judges wouldn't award Roach the win? Maybe it was just bravado, or maybe it was something.
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning. And you know, like, you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the knees than, you know. But I didn't really know that you can, like, get disqualified for all that. Or, like, when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell?
Calls in boxing are nothing new, but this one felt different. A close fight is one thing, but a clear knockdown being ignored? A superstar fighter taking a knee mid-round, getting his face wiped while the referee does nothing? A fighter outright telling his opponent he wasn't going to win, only for that exact outcome to happen? It's no wonder fans are outraged. It's why Crawford spoke out. This wasn't just a bad decision. It was a moment that made people question whether the sport was being played fair at all.
And I thought I should have won a competitive fight. I think I did what I needed to do necessary to bank the rounds, and even without the knee, that should have been a knockdown. So, you know, I don't think there's any excuse for me not to win tonight, but that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Terence Crawford has never been one to shy away from speaking his mind, and recently he shared his thoughts on who he believes will be the one to finally hand Tank Davis his first loss. As a pound-for-pound great, Crawford understands the politics of boxing, but when it comes to actual fights, he's confident that if Tank steps in the ring with Keyshawn Davis or Shakur Stevenson, his undefeated record won't stay intact. But Crawford's comments weren't just about predicting winners. They were a direct statement about Tank's choices. He implied that Davis knows exactly what would happen if he faced real threats, and that's why he's avoiding them. With the boxing world already questioning the legitimacy of his latest result, this only adds more fuel to the fire. It's the kind of drama that keeps fans talking, much like the heated discussions that probably unfold at your shop when big fights go down. You've got an eye for the sport. What do you think? Is Tank dodging real competition, or is Crawford just stirring the pot?
Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think it was here.
Tank on the door.
He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Great call.
Next question.
For years, Tank has carefully navigated his career, taking fights that set him up for highlight reel knockouts while avoiding the real dangers in the division. But Terence Crawford, a fighter who has built his legacy by facing the best and dominating, sees right through it. He didn't sugarcoat his thoughts. Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis have the mental toughness, ring IQ, and skill set to break Tank down, not just for a few rounds, but for an entire fight. That's the difference. Fighters like Ryan Garcia, Rolando Romero, and Hector Luis Garcia had talent, but they lacked the discipline and consistency to keep up for 12 rounds. Stevenson and Keyshawn, however, are built differently. If Tank ever steps in the ring with them, Crawford believes the outcome won't be in his favor.
I want to fight. I want to fight one of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who I fight at this point. I don't care. But I'm telling you, if you give me either or before they rematch, look at they rematch up. They getting put. I'm telling you, I ain't even playing. I ain't playing, bro. I'm young. I'm on fire. I'm young and I'm on fire.
Shakur Stevenson is a master technician, rarely taking damage and always dictating the pace of his fights. His ability to adapt, remain composed under pressure, and systematically break opponents down makes him a serious threat to Tank. Unlike others, he wouldn't get drawn into a slugfest. He'd methodically pick Tank apart, round by round, making him look ineffective. Tank's style, loading up on power shots and fighting in explosive bursts, plays right into Stevenson's strengths. Fighters who rely too much on knockout power often struggle when they can't land clean shots, growing frustrated as the fight drags on. Crawford sees it, Tank knows it, and anyone who truly understands boxing can recognize it too.